good morning to everyone. Today is Monday, August 17th, and I am trainer Lisa McCrary, and I hope everyone had a fabulous weekend. Let's jump right into Motivational Monday, and as always, we're going to start the day off with our quote for the week. This quote comes from our 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. And what Honest Abe had to say is, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 6 of them sharpening my axe. Now, I really like this quote because it emphasizes the importance of preparation. And we all know how important it is to be prepared to talk to our clients. Now, when you look at other industries, musicians, athletes, doctors, teachers, pilots, engineers, I had to throw that pilot and engineers in there because I have a son and a daughter who are both engineers. My son is also a pilot and my husband's an engineer. So I'm pretty proud of them. So I'm just going to throw that in there. But all of those people all have to prepare and practice in the pursuit of excellence in their chosen careers. As insurance agents, we are no different. It is just as important for us to make sure that we are doing preparatory actions in order to make sure we're ready for our clients and for our day. Being prepared enhances self-discipline, it enhances our strategic thinking as well as our flexibility because we're more prepared. But let me say this, preparation is crucial in our line of work, but don't let preparation get in the way of doing. And what I mean by that, if preparation is getting in the way of you picking up the phone and calling your leads because you're afraid of what you don't know, and I know that I am guilty of that myself because you want to know everything before you talk to that client. But if you find yourself in that situation, that presents a problem and you should stop. What I say to that, you guys, is plan, prepare, but don't forget to perform, okay? So that is our quote for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, welcome, my friends, to Motivational Monday, and I am so very happy that you guys are here with me today. As always, we're going to review our tips for the week, and then we're going to go right into a little reward and recognition with our sales shout outs. And last but not least, we are going to talk about qualifying a lead, how to turn a prospect into a customer with the right questions. So let's go into our tips for the week. Here's a great tip to help you earn a little extra money, and we all know we like to earn a little extra money. And NatGen has made that possible for us. NatGen has, with their fixed indemnity plan called Access, they have a great incentive package when you sell this particular product. Now, I will say, since the rollout of this particular fixed indemnity plan a couple months ago, this plan has really taken some momentum and agents are really liking this plan for their clients. If you have not learned about this plan, I really encourage you to go out to natgenhealth.com to take a look at the brochure. You can also go to YouTube. There are some trainings as well on YouTube if you are unfamiliar with this. But here are the qualifications in order to get yourself some extra cash. Now through December 31st, selling this product can earn you anywhere from $50 to an extra $150 for each plan that you sell. And the nice thing is that there are no limits on the amount of incentive you can earn. Now that's pretty cool. To qualify for the bonuses, You only need to have at least 10 access plans sold during the qualifying period. And remember, that ends December 31st. Once the requirements have been met and you've hit those 10 sales, the bonuses will apply to all of the sales that you've made with that particular product, with that access product. So the first 10 will be included in your bonus structure, so no worries there. Now, remember, the plan must be issued and enforced for a minimum of 3 months, and with the premiums paid, of course, in order to qualify for this bonus. So that's a pretty good way to actually earn some extra cash. Now, if you guys sell Medicare, mark your calendars, because on the 27th of this month, your Medicare trainer Dave, will have a live training on Medicare Part C and Part D. If you guys are interested, you can go to the website at ahcpsales.com and check out the training calendar to learn more about the training, as well as to register for the webinar. So check that out. Now let's turn to our sales shout outs for the week. This is actually my favorite part. I probably say this every time because it is. I love the reward and recognition. I love seeing what's selling out there. And this is the point of the Motivation Monday meeting where we talk about this. This recognition is for last week. So let's go ahead and get started. And that would be for August 10th. And it looks like when it came to short-term medical sales, Golden Rule or United Healthcare, they actually ruled the roost when it came to those sales. But when it came to limited med, accident, as well as critical illness, NatGen really showed up and had a great week with those particular products. And then once again, Golden Rule with dental, that continues to be a very popular product with the dental side of things. Now, this is where we get a chance to celebrate you guys. When it comes to last week's short-term medical sales with our agents, we have Matt Weinstein. He actually had the most sale. Then came Glenn Shane, and last was, well, I won't say last, but in third, because he definitely wasn't last, he had quite a few sales, was Daniel Reese. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I am, at least. And with limited med, we had Katia Santamaria, and then we had Dwayne Reacher, and then with accident, we had Cody Randazzo, as well as Glenn again, Glenn Shane. So Glenn, you had an awesome week last week. We can tell that you were doing some package selling or bundle selling as well, because you're on the board twice for both short-term medical as well as accident. I love to see that. Congratulations and great job to all of our sales leaders for the week of August 10th. Okay. Now let's turn to my next favorite part of Motivational Monday, and that's talking about how we can interact with our customers and how we can actually help them more, as well as earn more incentive for ourselves. So we're going to talk about today qualifying a lead. It sounds pretty strange to say that we should, quote, qualify our potential clients. I hear someone out there saying right now, Lisa, you got this all wrong. Aren't we supposed to be in the service industry? We're here to provide a service. I can also hear someone out there saying, Lisa, shouldn't we worry more about them qualifying us or scrutinizing us for what we do? Well, the answer to both of those questions is yes. We are in the service industry, and that is correct. And yes, our leads are, or our potential clients are testing us out every day to see whether or not they want to do business with us. But we have an obligation to help our clients by providing them with the best comprehensive insurance package that they can afford. The only way that we can have this happen is by understanding their needs. And what I mean by that is asking questions in order to understand where their pain points are and the things that they need to happen with their health care insurance. And we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive into that in a second. Now, you guys know that we receive leads from a multitude of sources. We get them from marketing campaigns, we purchase our leads, referrals. We might get them from our centers of influence, such as lawyers, doctors, accountants. We might have social media campaigns or networking events. And all of those leads, no matter what source you get your leads from, the way we process them and turn them into customers is really the same. And if we're really keeping it real, this is where all the magic happens. And I have it highlighted in red because this is where we qualify and convert our leads into customers. Now, when you receive a new insurance lead, regardless of where it came from, you should probably begin with a question and answer session, focusing on why they are looking for health insurance. Again, the first thing you want to do is that question and answer session, asking them, why are they even looking for insurance? What made them call? This is going to hopefully start some kind of dialogue and help paint the picture of what your clients' insurance needs are, whether that be health, dental, critical illness, accident, insurance, or maybe all of the above. But I want you guys to listen up for a second, because this is also important to consider. As essential as it is to ask questions as we're talking to our prospects, it is even more important to not make it an interrogation session. And I say that because I really have seen that happen. A lot of times as agents, we're so interested in our agenda and the questions that we need to ask. And sometimes that's just simple nerves and we're just trying to get through it. And we make it more like an interrogation session, and you don't want to do that. The interaction should be very conversational. It should be like you're talking to a friend or a family member, and you're really trying to get to know exactly what their needs are and what it is that you can do to help them. Now, interview style questions, and those are the questions that we're going to talk about in a little bit, aren't just about getting the information. They're also about making your lead comfortable. You want to disarm their hesitation to share personal, detailed information over to you because and to be honest, they don't know you. And eventually, once you close the sale, you're going to be asking for account information. So a lot of what you're doing when you're asking these questions, believe it or not, you are building rapport. A lot of times people think that building rapport is at the very beginning of the conversation when you're saying, hi, how are you doing? How is your day going? How is the weather? And all of that good stuff. And that's all nice and good. But to be honest, if you start a conversation like that over the phone, 9 times out of 10, the person is going to hang up on you. You want to get right to business and see exactly the reason why they called. And you want to ask those crucial questions. And that, in asking those questions and having that dialogue, that's where you're actually building that rapport. The more you know about the lead, the better the opportunity you'll have at accommodating them with thoughtful, and thought out solutions. This little step, which is, it's just a really small step, but it's a very important step, which is qualifying your leads, can really save you and your client a lot of time, frustration, and avoid potential mistakes and misunderstandings in the long run. Now, what you guys see here is the sales process. And sales process, you probably have seen this before. You have your introduction when you first talk to your customer. You have your fact-finding stage. Then you're going to do your presentation. And then you have your close. We're focusing really on that fact-finding. Fact-finding or qualifying your leads is where, like I said, the magic happens. In my opinion, again, it's one of the most important things you can do. This is where we're diagnosing our clients' problems. If we were doctors, this is the examination. This is where we're going to let them talk and we're going to listen. If you are talking more during this phase or this stage than your client, and you hear yourself talking more, slow your roll a little bit, bring it back, ask more questions to get them talking, because really you want to know more of what they have to say, because you know the solutions, you know what products you have, you just don't know what their problems are. Now, poor questions, though, can lead to incorrect diagnosis. And the only way I can explain that is if you're in a doctor's office and you go to the doctor and you have a headache and they're looking at your foot, you know, and they're asking you questions about your foot, that's going to be a poor diagnosis. When we're asking questions to our clients, we want to make sure that we're asking questions that are going to affect their health insurance. And we're going to go over some of those questions in a little bit. The other thing is, and I'm sure you guys all know, you want to make sure those questions are open-ended. You don't want closed-ended questions, and those are questions that end with yes or no. In order to have dialogue, you got to say things such as, tell me, help me understand, explain to me, why is this? Those are all things that's going to get them to actually talk more about their situation. And some of the things, and this isn't everything, but some of the things you want to talk to your clients about is their current insurance situation. You want to talk about the decision makers. You want to know, I like to do one call closes. So you really want to know who all needs to be in this decision-making process, because if they need to get on the phone, they need to get on the phone so you can try and close that particular day. You want to know how they use the plan now and how they would like to see it used in the future. And you definitely want to know what their budget is as well as their start date. Now let's start qualifying our lead. That's what you guys came here for. And I'm going to call this stage the introduction, okay? The introduction interview style questions, they really revolve around their current situation. To understand where we need to go with our clients, it is important for us to understand where they have been. So an example of this would be to ask your client, so I can understand your situation, tell me, that's that open-ended question, tell me about your current insurance. Or, when was the last time you were insured? Those are all, those are two very good ways to start the conversation. The important thing to remember again is to let them do the talking. Do you ever wonder why, people like talking to bartenders, psychologists, hairdressers, counselors? The reason why is because those people are very, very good listeners. Practice that, and your clients will learn to love you for that reason. So my suggestion is to pick one of these intro questions, whichever best fits your style, however you like to ask questions, and then ask that question and then hear what your client has to say. So here are a few more examples that you can use. We talked about, so I can understand your situation, tell me about your current insurance. Is there a reason you are looking to switch your insurance? What are some current concerns that you have about your healthcare insurance? That's going to really uncover some of the pains they might have. Would you be the only decision maker that's trying to find out about that decision maker, or is there someone else to consider for this policy? That question there has two folds. You want to know the decision maker, and are there going to be other people on the plan that you need to be concerned about, such as dependents? What are some of your concerns about health insurance? Once again, what are their pains? What is one thing that I can help you with right now that might help your life become easier when it comes to life insurance? That's one of those really felt type of questions where you're really harping on their feelings and you want to hear their story. Especially if you sense from them that, this whole situation with health insurance is very painful, you can ask them, what is one thing that I can do for you right now that will make your life easier? That's building rapport, but it's also qualifying your customer. After the introduction, you got to know why they called. You should have a good idea of why they are looking bit deeper. These questions are questions that are going to help you with your recommendation, because you don't have enough information right now to make a recommendation to your client yet. I like to compare this stage to like peeling the layers of an onion back. To really understand the pain, you have to really peel the layers of that pain or that onion back in order to get to the core of the problem. And here are some sample questions that can help you with that. Are there any specific doctors or hospital systems you wish to have access to on this plan? Simple, straightforward. You need to know that, because if you don't have their doctor, they're not going to stay on the plan. They're going to and they're not going to be happy. They're not going to refer anybody to you. It's just not going to reach their deductible. If so often they use their plan, because that's going to help us recommend that deductible amount and to see what their usage is like. Is there a budget that you had in mind, obviously, to stay within? Once again, we want to know about that budget. Does your health plan needs, try this again. Does your health plan need to accommodate any ongoing injuries, health conditions from the past 5 years? So this is a twofold thing. You want to know if they have some things going on from the past 5 years that you need to be concerned about, and if there's anything that we need to be concerned about ongoing, because in some situations, if it's an expensive illness that maybe a short-term medical is not appropriate for, we might need to look at an ACA plan. Will anyone on the plan require maternity coverage, or will they require mental health condition or drug and alcohol rehab? Again, those are those questions to see whether or not an ACA plan will be more suited for your client than a short-term medical. It just depends on their goals, because as you know, sometimes you have some plans that offer mental health, as short-term medical plans that offer mental health coverage. If you ask and you keep peeling that layer back and you're asking the questions about it, you might find a short-term medical plan can work instead of the more expensive ACA plans. Do you qualify for a large discount on your health insurance due to your income? And that's just looking at those subsidies and whether or not they qualify for those subsidies. And the last one I really like is, if you can design your own plan, how would that plan look? I think I asked this with every question at every point during a conversation with my client, because I want to know what their picture of a great plan looks like. All right. Now we're at the presentation. We had the introduction, we've done the deep dive, we got a lot of information, and we've done the presentation, okay? we've had our presentation with our customer, and this is what I call the middle of your sales pitch or the sales process. And like I said, by now you've gathered a lot of information and you've presented some kind of package or bundle for their consideration. Now it's time to gauge how they feel about the conversation and how it's going. So how do you do that carefully, because you don't want to poke too much, otherwise you can lose a sale, but you do want to know where they are. So here are some questions that will help you with that. And you're not asking, remember, I'm giving you sample questions, guys. You are not asking all of these questions. That is going to make this an interrogation. These are sample questions that I am giving you guys, and then you can pick one or two that you like that you're going to use in your conversation. And these aren't necessarily, you're asking them one after another. It is, once again, in a conversation. But during the middle of the presentation or after the presentation, here are some questions that you can ask. What can I help explain in greater detail, or does this make sense the way I have explained it? I think that's probably the most important question that you can ask your client. Insurance is very complicated and it's very confusing. It's very confusing to me, and I've had my license since 1998. It is even more for them. So to ask your client to please explain, do I need to explain anything? Is there anything that I've said that you don't understand? Furthermore, I honestly like during the presentation, as I'm going through things, as I'm talking about the deductible, as I'm talking about the co-insurance and the copay, I'll stop and ask, now, is that something that, do you understand what I mean by that? Do I need to explain anything? So during my process, I actually incorporate this in the deep dive stage. So when I'm asking questions and I'm doing that part of my presentation, I'm asking them, is this something that you understand? Do I need to explain this a little further? Another question is, tell me how this plan would meet your needs. I like this because it's something that I learned from a sales technique called spin selling. And it's turning the question so that they have to tell you now what they like about the plan. So it helps in the sales process. It helps with positive affirmation when we're talking to our clients and trying to get them to think positively about the plan that we're presenting to them. When are you thinking of starting this new coverage? That's self-explanatory. Is there anything in the past few years or that you can foresee in the years to come that might change how we're looking at these options now? I think that's a pretty important question to ask probably toward the end, to make sure there isn't anything unforeseen that we haven't talked about, because a lot of times you're talking about things that have happened in the past or that have happened that's going on right now. But what if they're thinking about knee surgery or hip replacement or shoulder replacement? Those are things that you also want to know about as well. Now we're at the wrap up. At this stage, you're addressing any objections. So this is really your objection stage where hopefully you don't have anything. Hopefully you don't need to go to here and they're like, I'm sold. I want to go ahead and take this policy package that you put together and we're good to go. But in the event that they're not, and you really are wrapping this up and you want to, continue to gauge how they feel, here are a few questions you can ask. Now that I've explained the features and how does this plan sound to you? So you want to know a little bit about how they like the plan. What other questions do you have for me? That's probably the one I use the most. Once I'm done with my presentation, I will ask that question. I would say, what other questions do you have for me? If you are sensing some apprehension, you can simply just, address the elephant in the room. Do you have any hesitations about these policies? and then address that, but don't hide from it, because if you hide from it, I guarantee you that it's just, a lot of times it's just not going to work out in your favor. Is there anything that we might be able to adjust to fit your needs more? So that's something else that you can, that's something else you can use if you feel they are being apprehensive. Now, the last thing is the closing. And with the closing, think about these questions and how each lead will react. Some questions might catch people off guard, especially in the closing, because at this point you want to say, okay, let's do business. So some questions might catch people off guard. So depending on your client's personality, they may need to be rephrased to sound more palatable to your client. Others might, questions might be a little bit too vague. So you just have to gauge that based on the person that you're talking to. The trick here is to test and retest what causes your leads to pause and consider moving forward. And only you can do that. So really, once you get comfortable with the flow, with qualifying your leads, eventually you're going to be so confident in how you do that. No matter who you're talking to, it sort of comes out very confidently, and the customer feels that confidence and they want to do business with you. Now, every agent has their very own way of asking questions to get their answers. So make sure you figure out what is yours. But in the closing, you basically want to ask for the business. The first two is not my favorite, but I put them here just for somebody that might like them. Do you feel like this amount of coverage would work for you? I'm not too keen on that one, but some people that might work for them. If you find them having some hesitation, what are the next steps you would like to take? So if they're telling you, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, this might not be for me, then you can take the pressure off of them and off of yourself and ask them, what steps would you like to take next? Tell me, what would you like to see happen? And a lot of times that will take the pressure off of them and can help you close that sale. The ones that I like to use the most, and that's just because I'm more of a direct person, I just simply ask, once I know that I have them in the best option, to begin this process of getting this policy set up for you, all I need is an account number and routing number for your automatic payments. And I simply ask for it. Or I'll say, which account would you like to use for your premium payments? And I'll go right into it that way. So, and then I'll let them, if there are any objections, I'll handle it at that time. So those are my closing techniques. Like I said, the last two bullet points I like more than the top two. But like I said, every agent has their own way of doing it. And the point of this exercise is for you to find your way of making sure that you're qualifying your lead. But the important thing is that you are qualifying your lead. Finally, we do have a great tool to capture this information. It's called the Information Gathering Worksheet. It even has questions on there already. So if you're having problems with thinking of what to ask your clients, this gathering worksheet does have questions that you can ask. It is in fillable form so that you can actually fill it out on your computer and store it on your computer by your client's name. I really like that feature. But if you don't have it, some of you probably already have this, but if you don't have it and you would like to have something like this, you can always reach us at training@ahcpsales.com, and we can send this to you so that you can have it if you want to use this as a job aid. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of Motivation Monday. I hope everyone enjoyed today's meeting today. I know I enjoy it. I enjoy every time I come here and talk to you guys. And as always, if you need to reach us or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us at training@ahcpsales.com, or you can contact us at agency services at the number provided on the screen. God bless all of you. Please stay safe out there and have a wonderful sales and service week. We'll see you next time.